Monster Hunter Wilds after spending a ton of time in the game, but I'm not ranking them just based on difficulty. Each one is judged on 3 things: the design of the monster, the design of the hunt against it, and how fun the monster is to hunt. I thought I'd add some more fun to the tier list by ranking the monster while I'm hunting it. Getting beat up while I criticize the monster only seemed fair. There's 39 monsters to rank, and I'll be going in the order they're listed in the in-game hunter's notes, starting with Chatacabra. Every monster hunter needs their punching bag. We had Great Jagras in World and Iceborne. We had some weird knife lizards in Rise and Sunbreak. And now we got the solo frog taking on the hunter. Although we got all these crazy bugs here too, I guess, huh? Chatacabra's pretty sick. I liked the reveal of him early on when they were spoiling what the monsters are gonna be in this game. He's more punch. Nice work, Punchy. Nice work. I think Chatacabra was more punching bag than Great Jagras and Great Azuki were. He just kind of dies. But his design is really cool. And this tier list is based on design and how fun the hunt is. And so even though the hunt is pretty lackluster, it's the first monster of the game. I don't expect it to be a spectacle. And he does quite a bit. He just knocked me over there. I like the whole idea of him being able to stick rocks to himself, use his tongue and all that stuff too. So it's a cool design. It's really cool. Plus, you can't beat frogs. Frogs are hilarious. They're super funny. He's good. We'll see what happens to him in the expansion. Maybe they'll have a subspecies or something of Chatacabra that'll pose more of a challenge. Or if we're real lucky, we'll get a big old giant Chatacabra like we had the greatest Jagras, you know? We'll see. Chatacabra's pretty decent. I'm gonna stick him down here. Kevitrice is a pretty decent monster. It's interesting that it's a brute wyvern. I kind of like that a lot. Its design is pretty awesome with the old flame spreading here with that old tail spin. I think that's pretty cool. Kevitrice is also the monster that I'm most anticipating a sweet subspecies monster out of it. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, obviously, but I really like the design of this monster with how roostery it is and the big old tail cut and all that stuff that you get from this thing. There's a lot to play with, and we'll see what Monster Hunter does with it in future entities of the game. Future entries, I should say. Kevitrice, I think, is a pretty awesome early game monster. It kind of stands there and dies, but you can get tripped up by the fire hit here and there. So the design of the monster is the best part about it. The hunt design isn't the greatest, but it's a little bit better than Chatacabra in my opinion. So I think I'll rank this one just one step higher than Chatacabra. I enjoy the chicken, but it's not my favorite in the game. Monster Hunter has a really awesome appeal, for me anyways, because I love fighting big old dinosaurs and dragons with oversized weapons. It's pretty fun. But Rise opened my eyes to insect monsters, and I'm a bit of a bug catcher in Pokemon games. I really like the bug monsters a lot. Laabbrina was an easy fit for me of monsters that I really enjoy because there's just something really cool about fighting a giant spider. It's awesome. I like Laabbrina. I think it's a great monster. I love that we fought it so early, and this stunning red color on the white body in the midst of the Scarlet Forest. So we've got the red water going around and all that stuff. I think it fits really well. It's a great fit for the game. I don't think the hunt is that spectacular though, and this is just something about early game Monster Hunter monsters where they're more punching bags and they're teaching you the game than they are a challenge. And so this is another one that for the DLC, I hope that they add a really beefed up version of Laabbrina that just destroys you with paralysis. It's already well done. I like the little paralysis spores that get flung out during this hunt, and they could really jump on that and make it huge for the expansion of the game and make you suffer a bit with that paralysis. But I will put Laabbrina in B rank. I like the design of the monster so much, and this little pedal design in the hunt is really, really cool. It's not a top tier monster, but it's getting pretty close. It just needs a little bit more in the hunt to make it engaging. Man, Kangala and monkeys, and there's so much poop in this hunt. It's so weird. I'm actually so surprised that Kangala is even in this game for how realistic they want Wilds and World and Iceborne are in the same vein, right? They want more realism in the game than the cartoony factor, and Kangala is kind of the opposite of that. They did a pretty good job of making it somewhat realistic because, you know, monkeys do the whole poop thing and whatever, but the pink fur and all the gas everywhere and, you know, the mushroom eating, all that stuff, it feels like I'm watching Saturday morning cartoons, kind of. And if that's what they're going for, fine, you know. It does fit the 1-1s really well though too, so I'll give it that. The 1-1s were a great part of the story. I think they're really funny, and having a character for them to rally around was kind of fun. But overall, I'm not a fan of like monkeys in general, like IRL or in this game. They kind of scare me. Kangala does mushroom stuff, so it's kind of the redeeming factor for me, but even that. Kangala, the hunt is not that big of a deal. The monster itself is not that fun, in my opinion. It's just not for me. So I'm gonna stick this guy right in F tier, and F for fart, I guess, is where it'll stick. Balahara, he balls so harda. He's a cool monster. This is one of the monsters I was most excited for the reveals when Monster Hunter Wilds was being spoiled. Oh, he's gonna climb up here now. Okay, well, we'll let him do that, I guess. Balahara has such a cool monster design. I love the little spins through the sand. He's digging up everywhere. He climbs up all these things and falls off and all that. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It makes me miss Diablos a lot, though. It makes me wonder why Diablos is in this game. Oh, we gotta sleep. Okay. Well, I guess I'll get my little thing here. I gotta talk a little quietly, though, because we might wake up Balahara. But I do like the design of Balahara a lot. I think it's really, really cool. The little spiral stuff is really awesome. He's like the perfect sand monster. Good morning. Nice. One-shot tail cut. I'll take that. But yeah, like he just does everything that I think a cool designed monster does. He fits the environment really well. He's spraying goo at you. He feels like he's out of some like Cthulhu game. He's got a, you know, he's got some of that horror aspect to him. And he just, oh, another sleep? Okay. I mean, we'll wake him up again. That's fine. He's really well done. The only thing he suffers with is that he's just an early game monster, and so his HP is not high enough to pose a threat later on. But it's fine. I mean, everything besides that, this tier list is not based on difficulty, you know, but the hunt is just a little bit too easy going. But even look at all those lighting effects while we're fighting him. It's night here in the plains, and he's like glowing and spraying goo at it. It's sick. It's really cool. I like him a lot. So I'm gonna stick this guy right at B rank. I think he's like mid-tier level and sets the foundation for how monsters should look, in my opinion. Nice job punching on the paralysis there. Doshaguma? Dashaguma? Dashagama? I've heard it all. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Which one is it, y'all? Let me know. Doshaguma, the bully, the gang member. This guy's pretty big too. I got a big one on here. I like Dashaga. I've said that about a lot of monsters. I just like monsters. I think they're pretty cool, you know. Woo, got the offset there, nice. Oh, he got me back. This is a well done bear monster. The one that we know from Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreaks and prior games, obviously, is a little bit too cartoony for me. And I like the more fluffy bear looking guy here with the Shogama. And plus doing the whole like gang up stuff. Man, he is beating me up. Thank you, punching for the heel. The whole gang stuff here, where he's got like the crew, I think that's pretty cool. I really like that he travels around in a pack, and it's a good story beat. I think it's well done. The hunt here is really interesting though. As you can see, I'm getting absolutely pulverized. Is that a switch axe issue for me, or is it a Dashogama hunt thing? Could be both, because his attacks are kind of hard to read. All that fluff makes it interesting to see what's coming, you know? You're not sure what he's doing next, and that's maybe the downside of the hunt, but it's also an upside. I think it makes Dashogama really interesting because there is a challenge in reading his attacks. The wound system is really brought to light with Dashogama too. He actually utilizes wounds like really well, which is a cool feature of the monster. Other monsters just get wounded and then you focus strike them and you do a bunch of damage. Dashogama has a whole phase where he reignites the wounds and punishes you for the wounding. I think that's awesome. It's a really cool way to utilize the new gimmick of the game and see what we can do with it. I want to full release this guy so bad. Let's give it a shot. So I hope we get some more of that down the road with wounds if they're going to keep doing wound stuff. We'll see what happens with that though. Let's go for one of these. There we go. It all depends on what Wild's going to do with wounds in the future and all that. But I think it's a really well done mechanic with this monster alone. The pack tactic stuff, nice job, Punchy, on the paralysis. The pack tactic stuff I think could be utilized more down the road too. But these are all really hyper details of the Shagama. I want to stick this guy in A rank, but I do like Laabbrina and Balahara a lot more, just because this hunt can get kind of weird when it comes to reading the attacks. But maybe with some more practice, I'll rank this guy a little bit higher, but we'll stick him in B rank for now. And now for our first Apex, the old flopper. Ooh, got that one though, kinda. Not really? I don't know how we didn't get there. Udra is pretty cool. I thought I would like the protective veil thing a lot more with this hunt, because it's a unique mechanic. We don't really have a lot of that in Monster Hunter, but it actually is not that fun over time. I get less and less thrilled about dealing with that over time. But I mean, the first time it was okay, but this is just a really tanky monster. And there are other tanky monsters in this game, so I guess it's not the only one, but it works out. I'm usually a big fan of fish monsters, but this is less fish for me the more and more I play it. He's more like just really awkward looking wyvern. I'm not quite sure. It's probably because of the fins, you know? When you lose the fins throughout the hunt, it just doesn't feel the same as a fish. I like the fins a lot. They look really cool, but the mechanics of it are getting less and less of a spectacle thing for me over time, like I've said. The hunt overall is pretty good. I'm actually like the worst at this hunt when it comes to all the apexes, which is kind of interesting. It's the first one you face off against in the story, and it's the one that I'm least good at. But I think that poses a good challenge for me later on in the game. It's something to work on and get better at. He's just so floppy, you know? Man, he got me good there too. We'll see what more happens with Udra in the future. You think they'll add more Apex variety in the expansions going forward? I don't know. We'll see. We'll want to see more monsters too, but the Apexes are kind of a spectacle in the game, and so they add a lot that players really like. So overall, the design of the monster is pretty okay. The hunt is pretty not okay, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of it. So I'm going to go ahead and stick the old flopper in the C rank here and just leave it at the bottom. I'm not a big fan of it. I come back to it here and there. I need to get better at it, obviously, as you can see with my gameplay. But it's just not my favorite hunt, so I'll stick this guy in C rank. Did you know that the state bird of Minnesota is the mosquito? I would know. I'm from Minnesota. But we don't have mosquitoes like this here anyways. This is the 10-star Rampo that I'm hunting right now, and this guy is no joke. But let's start with the weaker version first. Rampo is an interesting monster, but I can understand why he was the least hunted monster in Wilds up until the 10-star version. He's just kind of there, and he gets hit, and you pop the balloon, and it's over. You know, it's not too big of a deal. I do like the gimmick of him throwing the gases around here to blow you up. I think it's pretty cool. But back when he was just a regular old monster, whoopsie, it wasn't that big of a deal. 10-star Rampo, on the other hand, is a whole nother story. This thing hits really, really hard and often. I've heard some people talk about him being comparable to Raging Brachydios from World and Iceborne. I actually think that the explosions are worse. They're harder anyways. Raging Brachydios does blast damage when those things pop, but you've got time to get in and out of them. And if you run blast resistance, you don't have to worry about them. Rampo, even if you run poison resistance, you still get hit. And you get hit often because those things pop really fast. So I think that's actually a plus for Rampo, the 10-star version. It does make this hunt a lot more difficult. It does make it hard for me to talk about this hunt while I'm hunting it too, because I got to be watched all the time. One thing that makes this hunt really crazy though is when you can't see those little explosions because they're in the water. That's actually like the area that you fight this guy in makes a really big difference, because then you can see where the explosions are coming from a lot easier and respond to them a little bit better. Maybe me playing a faster weapon would help out too. I'm playing a pretty slow one. So I had Rampo down in the bottom of C tier prior to the 10-star version of him. But now that I've done the 10-star version hunt a few times, I'm gonna bump this guy up to the top of C tier. I don't think it fixes how I feel about Rampo, but I do think the 10-star hunt is a lot more fun than the regular. Ooh, the regular version. Because of moments like that, you have to be on your toes. But really, like, once you get the hang of what the explosions are doing, it's not that bad of a hunt. And really, you're just running around until you find the opening versus doing a whole lot of stuff that's engaging in my book. And that might be a skill issue, sure. I've got some things to learn more about this hunt that other people have maybe figured out, but I just find myself running around a lot, dodging these things. pulling a guard out when I can't dodge them, and then getting in some chip damage. And my hunt times are like, okay, they're right around like 15 minutes, something like that. And I know I could go faster than that if I really honed in on it, but it's not a monster that I'm like so pumped to hunt all the time. And that's why it's at C tier, because it's not like the most fun thing I've ever done, you know? So anyways, design wise, Rampo is like F tier monster. Hunt wise, it's okay. I like the gimmick, and 10 tier cranked it up a whole bunch. And so we'll throw this guy at the very top of C tier. Wow, I love the music for Raidao so much. And there's so much more to like about Raidao too. It's a really, really great monster, but it's hard to miss on this music. It feels good every time you hear it. Raidao is the Apex I like the most. I'll show my cards here. It's the best one. I love it. The music is great. The monster is great. I've hunted it a ton because I like it so much. I still cart to it because that railgun is no joke. And it's maybe one of the coolest part about the monster into the late game is that Raidao scales with the hunter. That railgun is always a threat. And you may just die later on in the game, no matter what gear you have, because the railgun does so much damage, and I love that. I think it's a really cool part about Raidao. On top of that, the monster design itself is really cool. It's a classic flying wyvern, which is really awesome to fight. Feels very Monster Hunter. The sound design team for this monster went crazy, because not only does the roar of Raidao sound really unique and cool, ouch, but all the little like glass shattering sounds, because it's turning, I don't know, either parts of itself or things that are on it into glass with the lightning, is really sweet. We're not gonna make it to the lair here while I fight this thing, but if you've been to the Raidao lair, and it's glass everywhere, like I just imagine that was full of sand one day, and Raidao moved in and shocked everything and turned it into glass. I think that's so sick. What a cool design for a monster. I love it. It also just fits the storyline well too. You can see why this would be the apex monster of this region, and why the people of Kunafa are scared of it or run away from it or plan their lives around it. You can't be out in a storm when this thing's running around. It's sick. I love it. There really is no bad things for me to say about Raidao, and I've said that about a couple monsters throughout this list, you'll see. But I just really like it a lot. I come back and fight this monster a ton because it's so fun. And I know I'm not the only person out there who just really appreciates Raidao as a monster. For some people, Raidao is the best monster in the game. For me, it's not the best, but it might be one of the best new monsters created for Wilds itself. It's really, really good. I also had some interesting memories with this monster too. I was able to go to PAX West when Wilds was being released and fight this thing in Hope armor. And we did not beat it. It was very fun, but we did not beat it. And so there's some like nostalgia for me on this monster too, which I'm not using it to up the ranking of this monster at all, but it does have a favorite spot for me because of how the history of Wilds being released and my time in the game has been. So we're gonna stick this guy right up in S rank where he belongs. He's gonna enjoy his spot up there, and I'll give you some more thoughts on Arch Tempered Raidao once we get to that part of the video. I know Nurcilla's a returning monster and is nothing special for our veterans out there, for those who have played Monster Hunter in the past other than 5th gen. But Nurcilla's a new monster to me, and I really, really like Nurcilla. Like I said with Laabbrina, I'm a big fan of the bug monsters, the big old spiders here. And the hunt with Nurcilla, I think, is actual peak Monster Hunter hunt design. It feels like you're fighting a spider, and I love that feeling a lot. It's really, really cool. The statuses always trip you up. That's always the hard part with Nurcilla. But you're fighting a multi-legged monster. It hits you with the butt, you know? It goes in and just smacks you around. It swings around on the webs like I interrupted there. That's pretty sick, by the way. It's just really cool. It's really cool. I like Nurcilla a lot. It's actually one of my goals to have the most Nurcilla hunts in Monster Hunter out of any player. And right now I haven't spent a lot of time on that goal, but I need to. Because I really like this monster. It's really, really awesome. Nurcilla is gonna be top of the line for me when it comes to hunt design. There are other monsters that are better hunts in Wilds because of the low difficulty of Nurcilla, so there's just less to do. But I'm looking forward to hopefully more Nurcilla in the expansion.
The one thing I can say is a downside to Nurcilla, which has nothing to do with this tier list really, is I think the armor design is a little bit crazy. It's not for me. It's too space agey, but you know, to each their own. But outside of that, the design of Nurcilla and how it wears Gypsos skin and hunts Gypsos down as its prey and hunts you then too as well while you're getting in the middle of it all is really sick. Swinging around on webs and all that is really cool. It feels very spidery, but we're also in the giant spider territory, so it's not running away from you unlike this one that is now, or hiding in the framework. It's out actively hunting you while you're out hunting it, which I think is pretty cool. But I'll put this one away. I'm gonna put Nurcilla in the S rank, and I'll see you in the next monster. In a past video, I said that Hiroami is Monster Hunter Wild's most forgettable monster, and I stand by that. The only time I've ever hunted this thing outside of this video is through the storyline. I'm just not a fan of it. It doesn't really do anything for you. The armor set for me is not that big of a deal either, even though that's not a tier list thing. I just think this is a big flying bug that shows up in Jindahan fights to help you out. And even then, how much does it really do? I don't know. It's just not for me. It's pretty gross. The whole balloon thing with it flying around is not my favorite. I don't think it really poses any threat at all. Its hunt is not memorable. And really, the thing that I remember the most about the hunt with Hiroami is make sure you use a large dung pod. That's it. Outside of that, there's nothing about this hunt that's like spectacular. And I think the design is not that great either. Hopefully we'll see something different with that in a future installment of Monster Hunter to give this guy more of a chance, but he might be more of a punching bag than Chatacabra is, in my opinion. And that's just my opinion. Like I said, it's not anything spectacular, but yeah, Hiroami, I think we could lose this monster in the game and nobody would care. And if you're a Hiroami enjoyer, I apologize. Just not my thing. I'll trade you. You can have all my Hiroami. I'll take all of your Nurcilla. How's that sound? This guy's going straight in F rank. Oh no, another monkey. I'm scared of monkeys, y'all. They are not my favorite kind of animal. And I know that this tier list is based on monster design and how fun the hunt is, and monster design, and it looks like a monkey. I'm kind of out already. Now, I will give our Jurichon some props. I think it does have some interesting hunt mechanics to it, but its styling is so strange for this game. You know, it feels like it belongs in Rise and Sunbreak, honestly. It's got some crazy looking stuff on it. Like, it's weird looking. It's not for me. It's not my kind of monster. The whole meteor crash attack where it like flings up in the air and then dives bombs you is really cool. I think that's the best part about a Jurichon for me. But outside of that, it's just another scary being that's there to beat me up. It's gonna punch me. It's gonna make my life difficult. It's a monkey. I imagine this thing doing stuff to me IRL and you know, throwing me across a room and stuff like that. It's real scary. But like I said, the hunt's fine. The design's really strange. I'm actually knocking it down a tier because I think the monster design is a little bit too pushed for my liking. I'm not a huge fan of it. But the hunt is okay. The hunt's okay. A lot of getting punched, but it works. But I'm gonna put this guy in F rank, and I'm gonna give Kangala an edge here just because of mushrooms. But other than that, F rank monkeys. I think that's where the monkeys need to go. New Udra, the Black Flame. What a sick. Oh, okay. Good night. Let's go ahead and wake this guy up, I guess. We just got here. New Udra is a fantastic monster. I don't know who is expecting Octopus to be in Monster Hunter, but I wasn't. And I think it was really well done. Nice, got an arm slay or a sever right off the gate there. That's great. Was shocked to see Octopus make an appearance in Monster Hunter, and it is so well done. I love it. New Udra was fantastically designed. I like the lore implications a ton in the story, and it fits the theme of its lore really well. And it also works in the hunt so well, having an oil-covered octopus fighting you with a bunch of flames and multi-arms. In multiplayer, this hunt is actually really like difficult in a fun way because it feels like you're being attacked on all fronts. Like every arm is getting you. Ooh, another sleep. Okay, I'll take that.
I think that's awesome. I think it makes the multiplayer experience really cool. I'm also a huge fan of cutting tails off of monster. That's one of my really favorite parts of the game. And having a monster where there's multiple tails to cut off is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to more hunts in the future where we sever all the parts off this monster and go crazy with it. Now, the ranking for this monster might surprise you. I'm gonna stick this guy right in the B rank, but the reason why is because the another arm. The arch-tempered version of New Udra is so good that I ranked that one a lot higher. And we'll talk about that once we get further in the video. Don't worry, arch-tempered versions are on the way. But I really, really like this hunt. It does its job well as the typing of monster it is, as an octopus, as a lore piece with the apex end of things. It fits the region perfectly. The design is incredible. I love the black on the majority of the monster, but then those like alien blue eyes is just really cool. This guy fell asleep again. 3 sleeps in one hunt. That's incredible. Oh, come here, Bert. I'll wake this guy up, but I'll leave you with the ranking of B rank right in the middle of the road. And I think you'll look forward to seeing where I put the arch-tempered version ranking later on in the video. Guardian Dashaga. I'm going with Dashaga for now. I'm gonna rank this separately than Dashaga because the hunt is different, not by much, but some. Guardians add a new feature where they sprout some wilk and blow up around you, and I think that adds enough to the hunt to warrant a different ranking with it. I do like Guardian Dashaga better than regular Dashaga because of that. It has all the same hunt mechanics that we had before, although that little spittle that it does is really interesting. I'm not a huge fan of that. It's kind of gross. But with all the wounding and stuff like that, plus all this wilk sprouting is pretty cool. The explosions add to the hunt as a spectacle. Makes it feel a lot cooler when you're hunting it. Different part drops though, so we don't see this guy a whole lot when we're playing, just every now and then. It's got a whole new armor set and all that stuff. But it's good. It's good. Now, just a fun fact here, the Guardian Dashaga gear is all heroics based. I don't play it very much. I like the regular Dashaga gear better with the powerhouse set bonus on it. But, you know, it's fine. It's whatever. I like the look of Dashaga better than Guardian Dashaga. The white is a little bit weird on a big bear. But, yeah. Guardian Dashaga has a place, and it fits well with the storyline. The explosions do make it more fun to hunt for me and makes the design of the monster just a little bit better than the regular Dashaga. So I'm gonna rank this guy in the B rank as well, but ahead of regular Dashaga just a little bit. I actually had a really hard time ranking this one, and for good reason. I'll explain myself here. It was ranked higher than where I have it, and it's just slowly lost rank because of all the other monsters that I like more than this monster. It's kind of weird. Guardian Rathalos might be my favorite Rathalos to hunt in any Monster Hunter game that I've played. The glow up here with the explosions and the fireballs it shoots to trigger the explosions, it feels very, very good. And there's also new attacks here from the air where it dive bombs you like that and explodes around. It's just really sick looking. It looks so good. On top of that, you can use these pods to trigger the explosions yourself to hit Rathalos for some fun damage, which I like a lot. Plus, you got a sick tail to cut. It looks good with the white versus the Guardian Dashaga. It's kind of goofy with the white. This one's very fitting. So, big fan of Guardian Rathalos. Now, the problem was I had it in S rank to start. And there's just so many good S rank monsters, in my opinion, that I had to move this down one rank because I felt like S rank was a little bit too crowded. And so I'm going to put Guardian Rathalos at the very top of A rank and let it claim its throne there as the king of A rank. Wow, we actually killed that while I was talking. That was a fast one. Everything went really well for us on that hunt, but yeah, Guardian Rathalos, I think, is a good contender for A rank. It's a really, really great monster, and I hope we see more of this later on in Monster Hunter Wilds 2. Jindahan might have the best music of the game. I don't know, it's not the best, but it's pretty close. I do like the theme a lot. Jindahan's a really interesting monster for a bunch of reasons. The first one is that he's huge. He's huge. And this is before we have Elder Dragons in Wilds, right? So when I first saw Jindahan, I was kind of thinking it might be the first Elder Dragon of the game because of just how big it is. But That is not the case. And thankfully, Elder Dragon is not just determined by size, you know, but it works out. The other thing about Jindahan that's really interesting is that I think he's less of a monster and more of a machine. And I don't know how that is lore-wise. I'm not a lore historian or anything like that, but he's very, very unique in his design. Ooh, we got him out. That's pretty nice. And so part of that, though, is actually at its downfall, in my opinion, because it's less of a monster and how it feels for me. There's just lots less character with Jindahan, and it's hard to really read Jindahan as a monster, right? Put this monster up against things that have lots of character, right? Nergigante, Anjanath, Arkfeld. They're all monsters that have history, story, you know, an attitude or a character behind them. Jindahan just feels like a big walking robot that, you know, sprays ice at you or whatever. It's not quite for me because of that. He's just not my favorite because of that. So I don't know. He's hard to place because the hunt is really, really good. The design is pretty good. I do like the hunt a lot. He just left me. All right, see you later. We'll chase him down. The hunt is pretty good. It's not the best hunt in the game, but it's all right. It works okay. But I just miss the character of the monster with Jindahan, and I wish I kind of could feel a little bit of like what this guy is like actually as a monster, not as a big machine. Now, to get back to the music, one of the reasons why the music is so good is because he looks like a big machine, and in a lot of ways, he looks like a big organ in terms of like the instrument, right? And that's what the music in the background you hear a ton of in the music is an organ playing, like a, you know, like the cathedral. It's kind of spooky in one sense, and that's fun. I like that. Maybe that's why people like this monster so much, is that you can't really get a good read on him, but he does creep you out a little bit. That's not my favorite thing, and so I don't connect with it in that way, but I know a lot of people that's a real thing. That's what they like about it, or like about stuff in general. So I'm gonna go ahead and rank this guy, I don't know, right around here. And we'll see how the AT version looks later. I don't want to spoil you too much on how that one's gonna look, but I think that the hunt design is really good. The monster design's not my favorite, but it's getting pretty close. And so we'll stick them right here and be okay with that ranking. It'd be pretty hard pressed to not like Guardian Evidia Doggerod. He's a cool monster. He does a lot of stuff. He's real quick. He explodes. He has a tail to chop off. He looks like a dog. It's all good stuff, right? He's a cool monster. I'm glad he's back in the game. I really liked him in Iceborne as well. And the Guardian status, a little interesting. I actually think he's better in Iceborne, but that's likely because it's a DLC version of the monster and not the base game version of the monster. But overall, I still think it fits really well. I think he's good. The hunt is enjoyable, although he's a little bit slow than what I'm used to. And I'm not gonna knock Guardian Video Diagram for that because of the base game status of him. I think he works well lore-wise as a Guardian and fits, oh, nice work, Punchy. Fits really well for that. But I do think that there are better hunts in the game. And who knows, like I said, in every monster ranking so far, maybe the expansion will add more to these monsters and make them a little tougher or something else. But this isn't a difficulty tier list. This is a how good is the design, how good is the hunt. Now, one thing that I don't like about Evidia Dogron, and it's why I knocked his ranking down just a little bit, is I think the white on him is a little bit strange. I know that that's what the Guardian monsters have, and it's like what sets them apart in their design. I don't think it works well on Guardian Evidia Dogron. It's not my favorite. So I'm gonna chase him down here, but while I do that, I'm gonna slip this guy into B rank. I think he's a little better than Doshaguma, but barely. And his actual like overall look design is not my favorite. And so I'm gonna knock him down this rank, but we'll see how he turns out later on in Wild's lifetime. Let me start by saying that Sheiwu, Zuwu, however you want to call it, has the best lore implications for why this monster is here and why it does what it does in the game. Having it feast on Guardian monsters is way cool. I think that's a really awesome lore implication for any monster. And it makes a lot of sense. I'm sure there's something that eats the Guardian monsters, and here it is. But the problem with Zuwu is that it's too late game of a monster in the storyline, and it's too small for how late in the game it appears. You know, I want to play Monster Hunter to fight these giant hulking monsters, And I just think that new Udra did it better. Being a big octopus, cut off all its arms. You cut the arms off of this thing, but if it was twice as big, I think I would like Zuwu so much more. It's a small reason, but it's a big enough reason for me to not rank it higher because it just doesn't feel as menacing as it should be, right? I think it's a miss. That's all I'm trying to say. I think it was a miss by making this guy about the same size as the hunter. Make this guy big, but he can still fit in all the small crevices. He still gets all around the ruins of Iberia and scoops up all the guardian monsters, but he's just too small, and it doesn't make it feel like he's a super big deal, yeah? Outside of that, though, I think the monster design's great. I love that he's kind of like the assassin, the slinking assassin that gets around, and he's scavenging off of the guardian monsters. I think that's really cool. But yeah, I just need this guy to be bigger, and I think he would be almost an S-rank monster. So I'm gonna stick this guy down a couple ranks and let new Udra take the octopus crown. And on top, ooh, I killed him too. On top of that, Capcom, give us some more octopus monsters. Really well done monster design for your game. I think it's fantastic. Zoshia, what a fantastic monster and a great way to finish off Monster Hunter Wilds. This is a great final boss. Compare this guy to Xenojiva, y'all. If you hunted that monster back in World, Xenojiva is like nothing compared to Zoshia. Man, Zoshia is so sick. This hunt is so fun. You've got an area designed to hunt the monster in, a monster that starts off with this white calcite looking stuff, the Wilk, and as you break it open, a black dragon is revealed, and it's sick. And now with the final updates of Wilds here, we have 10-star Zoshia, because for the longest time, Zoshia was locked at 8-star, and it was fun at the time when we got him. I hunted a lot of 8-star Zoshia with my community. We did tons and tons of these hunts, but the rewards just didn't scale up. But now we've got 10-star Zoshia, and the difficulty is ramped up significantly, and it's just such a great hunt to get back into in endgame gear and get some rewards for taking it down. It's awesome. There's some really cool things you can do with this hunt, like blowing up these little crystals to do damage to Zoshia. And if you don't, it'll do damage to you instead, which I think is really cool. It's like proper boss mechanics, which I love a lot. The breaking open the black dragon underneath is really neat as well. I don't know how much of that we'll see in my 1 or 2 minutes of talking about the monster here. I mean, we got to see the head, I guess. But you fully open up the shell and see the terror underneath it through this hunt, and that's really neat. Not to mention all the elemental effects that Zoshia will fling at you. Fire, lightning, tons of other stuff. There's stuff flying all over the place. The Wilk, you need to explode or you take tons of damage. It's awesome. It's awesome. And this is a little bit of a minor point, but for me, it's a major point. It's something that I really appreciate it. Zoshia has this really long tail, see? And its counterpart back in Iceborne is Fatalis in terms of design and stuff. Fatalis had a really long tail too. But back in Iceborne, you could not cut off the tail of Fatalis, but you can cut off the tail of Zoshia. Oh, I got it knocked out with that. That's sick. And I really appreciate that this has a tail cut because, man, it's so disappointing not to be able to take off Fatalis' tail. It's fine though. It's fine. I'm not salty about it at all. But yeah, Zoshia's great. I'm gonna stick this guy right up in S tier, right where he belongs. I think it's a really good spot for him. There's not a whole lot of bad things to say about him. The difficulty is ramped up, and this tier list is not about difficulty, but I think that I have to mention that doing the 10-star version is not something that you need to do or required or anything like that, and you're gonna get just fine rewards for the 8-star version. I would have loved to have seen bigger, better rewards for the 10-star version, and some of them are fine, but I think there's just better hunts to do it in than this one. But if you want a really cinematic, awesome looking hunt against a really sweet monster, you can't miss with Zoshia, truly. It's really good. I've heard it said that Kaku could be described as a teacher, the sensei, right, of Monster Hunter. And I never got to experience Kaku in the older games. Wilds is my first experience with this monster. And what a good introduction to high rank, because I've heard all the stories of Kaku, and it's fun to be able to experience it now in a similar way. It's not the same. The game's a lot different than it was back in the day, but fun to have Kaku back in the game. Is Kaku a good teacher? In some ways it is. I think I've got a different experience with Monster Hunter than many people do. If this was your first Monster Hunter game, probably a really good introduction to high rank was Kaku. All the fireballs, all the trampling, You get into gang fights with this monster. There's kind of like troopers of them. Like they're just all over the place. All the charging around though, ouch, does get a little bit tedious. The CC on a hunter, the crowd control, it can get a little bit, you know, overbearing sometimes, especially when you're fighting more than one monster. But the design of the monster is really cool though. I really like the bird. I like the fireball flinging. I like the charges. I think it's really fun. A very territorial monster. It fits really well there. But the hunt just gets a little bit extreme with all of this charging around. And so it can make it a little bit of a drag over time. So plus we have an issue in Wilds too. Something strange. It's specific quests with the Kaku and other frenzied monsters. But it seems like the frenzy virus is a little too strong in this game, and it makes the HP of the frenzied monsters really, really low. And I think that's actually a downside for the monster. I would love to see the frenzied monsters be a challenge and something you have to deal with versus a free quest rewards mission. So I'm gonna stick Yen Kaku way down in C rank. It's a fine monster. Oops, I did that on accident. It's a fine monster. The hunt's okay. I like the design of the monster way more than the hunt. What do I say about this monster? It's okay. I think it's got an unfortunate history here in Wilds because you're not required to hunt this guy in the storyline. He kind of shows up in an optional quest if you happen to get the optional quest. And the only reason you really need to hunt Gypsos is if you're farming up dash juice, which I'm not somebody who does that because I play Mushromancer. So I've got free dash juice. I don't have to hunt Gypsos for it. I just grow Devil's Blights and I've got it. So what does that leave for Gypsos in terms of, you know, why hunt it? What's the purpose? What's it doing? It's just there. It's just there. Its hunt's okay. It's not anything crazy. It's just a big derpy bird. The flashbang is, you know, something people either have really funny moments with or really bad moments with based on their history with this monster. But I do think that the best part about Gypsos is the end of the hunt. When it fakes you out and it plays dead, and then flails around and hits you for a big chunk of damage. Watching clips of people who've been tricked by that play is really, really funny. And so maybe it's got a little bit of something because of that. But outside of that, we don't have a higher tiered version of this monster. It's stuck at like 5 rarity or 6 rarity or something like that, which means that you don't get to see it when it's really, really tough because of all these wounds. And so the hunt itself is just not that great. This little fake out's the best part. And funnily enough, you can kill it within here too, but we can't actually carve this guy. He's not dead yet. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick this guy in C rank. I don't think he's the worst monster in the game because I like this little gimmick here. But other than that, he doesn't really do much. He just dies. Sorry, Gypsos. It's just how it is. The Queen of the Land back in the game again too. There's just something comfortable about having Rathaean and Rathalos in every Monster Hunter game. I don't know. They're good monsters, so I'm glad they're here. It's never bad news for me to have Rathaean and Rathalos as a hunt. They're really well designed. They're really fun. I like how much they fly around in these newer versions of the game. They're not just everywhere in the sky all the time. And, you know, Rathaean being the Queen of the Land, she's not in the air that much anyways, but it's nice to be able to hunt a proper wyvern and a really well-fitting one for the regions and locales that she's in, too. It's really good. Rathaean's a classic. It's the same moves pretty much every game, at least the ones I've played. I don't know how she is in older games outside of World Rise and Wilds. But same moves, same hunt. A couple additions here and there maybe, but it's just really comfortable. But a great looking monster, a great hunt, great armor set. I love it as well. Rathaean also has a really cool benefit of being the weapon in the game that has poison duration up on the weapon, which was something I used a lot in early Wilds when I was doing poison weapons with longsword. It's pretty fun. But I don't think that Rathaean's the spectacle as it has been in the past, like in really, really old games. Rathaean's getting old. She's losing her flair. It's always nice to see her, but you're looking for more stuff to do in the hunt than what Rathaean offers. So I can't rank Rathaean super high, but I can put Rathaean right in the middle of the road. Just stumble my words there a little bit. We'll stick Rathaean right here. I think it's a good spot for her to be. There's better hunts in the game for sure, but I'm always up for a Rathaean hunt. I was so pumped
to find out that Fulgar Anjanath was back in this game. And he gained a new title. He's Guardian now. Guardian Fulgar Anjanath is one of the best hunts of the game, in my opinion. I really liked the Anjanath back in World Iceborne already, but now we've got the Guardian version that does the big old explosions after the thunder attacks. And I actually think that the hunt here in base wilds is better than the Iceborne version of Fulgar Anjanath. I love it. It's really well done. The thing that, ow, what the heck was that about, Goat? The thing that sets it over the edge of Iceborne for me is not only the explosions, that matters, but also the lighting in this game is amazing. And it plays the lightning part of Fulgar Anjanath so well. Look at all the lighting effects when it attacks. It's so cool. It's so good. It's really dynamic, and it makes you feel like you're playing like a movie almost when you're hunting this thing. Uh-oh. It's awesome. Can't go wrong with the size of Fulgar Anjanath too. He's a big boy, and that's something I really appreciate about Monster Hunter as a franchise, as a game, is you're fighting these big hulking monsters, and it feels so good to be able to fight them at your size when they're so much bigger than you. It makes the experience of taking down the monster so much more enjoyable. Ow, I walked into that. So much more enjoyable because it doesn't look like you could actually take this thing on. And it's intimidating. It's scary to walk into a hunt with something so much bigger than you, even if it's just pixels. Fantastic knockdown. It still feels crazy to walk into this hunt and feel like you even have a chance against it, and then you take it down. It's awesome. Now, the hunt I'm doing right now is not the 9-star version because the 9-star version is not in the game currently. It's an event quest for that. The 9-star version of Guardian Fulgar Anjanath is so fun. I did that hunt quite a bit. It's not the most rewards. It's not the most fruitful for your time, but it is super fun. And whenever it comes back, I hope you'll take a chance at that hunt because it's really, really awesome to have Guardian Fulgar with that much HP dealing that much damage while you try to take it down. It's a good time. I do think the design of Fulgar Anjanath is also really good too. The white from the Guardian design actually works for Fulgar really well. He was already kind of white in Iceborne anyways, and so it blends in even better and fits his overall design really well. And there's just something about fighting a T-Rex, you know? He's the only T-Rex in the game, really. And so it's nice to have this hunt. The lightning too, I could talk about that all day long, really, because the lighting with the lightning attacks is so well done. It's really, really good. You'll have to go back and watch my very first run of the game. It's on the channel here. I believe it's the first time I see Fulgar and my reaction to it. It's very overjoyed to see Guardian Fulgar Anjanath in the game. So I'm gonna stick this guy in S rank as well. I think he's a fantastic hunt. He fits super well in the game. And yeah, I think he belongs here. He's in with the top crew here. All right, we've got Rathalos, the king of the sky. The monster that's in every single Monster Hunter game. He's been there since the very beginning. And I call him the Pikachu of Monster Hunter. He's there all the time. He's very iconic. He's clutch. Man, that was a nice knockdown. He's just clutch to the series. He's a good fight overall. Back in World and Iceborne, I had a really big problem with Rathalos because he flew around constantly. He was always in the air. And some of your short-range weapons like sword and shield and dual blades, they had a really hard time hitting Rathalos unless you used flash pods, which they got worse in Iceborne. In Rise, they added some sweet aerial attacks that made Rathalos more of a menace in the sky, but he wasn't in the air constantly. Look what he did to all these Gelodromes, man. They're all dead. And I think Wilds really nailed the balance of this monster flies, but it's not always in the air. But when he's in the air, he does some sweet attacks, and he's gonna hurt you. But you can still hit him. You can still hit him while he's in the air. And I appreciate that, especially for the shorter range weapons, because, man, he is tough to hit in other games when he's flying, and you just have to wait for him to come down. The iconography of Rathalos makes it just a really fun hunt, though. But once you fought one, you've kind of fought them all. Kind of how it is. The changes and additions each game make it a little bit more unique, but it's a reason why I like Guardian Rathalos more than regular Rathalos. They added so much more to the Guardian version of this hunt than they did to the base version, and it makes me want to fight the Guardian one more often. But
even then, I still really like fighting Rathalos. One really awesome thing they did in Wilds now is there's a 9-star version of Rathalos that you can fight in multiple locales too. And I love that they made the difficulty hunt increase with the most iconic monster in the series. So I'm very, very grateful for that. That attack is sick, by the way. Love it. Love Rathalos. He's a great monster. I'm going to put him at A rank. Oh, we got to sleep. Nice. I'm going to put him at A rank. I'll say this quietly while he snoozes. We'll stick him at A rank because I think he's a really well done monster, but he's not the greatest in the game, but he's really, really, oh, I tackled his wing. Bummer. Okay. It was in the ground there. We'll sit him down though. But yeah, A rank for Rathalos. Good spot. I think he's a great monster. I love hunting him. Looking forward to more hunts with him. And who knows, y'all, we might even get something like Silver Rathalos or Azure Rathalos in future DLC of Wilds. Who knows? We'll see what happens there. Gravios is another one of those monsters that just, it feels like an oversight, even though it's not really. Him and Gypsos, you don't fight them for the storyline. You don't really need to fight them for any reason. They've got armor and stuff, and thankfully, in the last update of the game, Gravios armor you can upgrade and transcend it and put a bunch of skills on it and stuff. And the Gravios armor actually has some use. I like the set bonus on it. So I give it a little bit of perks there because you actually have time to get in and hunt it. But other than that, I didn't even touch it until the final update pretty much. A little bit for the ore quest when you were able to get the pickaxe for the sword and shield and the longsword. I did that quest a bit, but didn't really need to hunt this guy that much. And so there's just not a whole lot to do with them. Now, the hunt itself is a little bit more complicated than Gypsos. Not by much, but some. Because this guy is super beefy until you break his tummy. He's got a soft spot in his tummy, you know. But you do got to break this open, and then you start doing big damage to him. But before then, your sharpness matters, or different element builds can light this guy up. I think water light bowgun builds are like crazy against this guy. But other than that, it's not really that big of a deal of a monster. Now, one thing I do like about Gravios, though, is that you can cut his tail off. Did you guys know that? He does have a severable tail, which is kind of fun. Don't see that happen very often. I mostly see the tummy fight here. The belly broken. So, yeah, I'm going to stick this guy in the C rank because I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the hunt. You don't really need to do this guy. The design's pretty basic. We're also talking about a monster that's been around since, what, is the first game was Gravios? Was Monster Hunter 1? I always get Gravios and Basarios mixed up. I think Gravios was in Monster Hunter 1. So, basic monster design, yeah. But also we have Rathalos and Rathaean. They were in Monster Hunter 1 as well, and I like their designs a lot more. This guy's just like he's just a big baseball with wings, you know? So, we'll stick him in C rank. We'll keep him there for now. If things change with Gravios down the road, maybe we'll adjust the tier list. Out of all the monkey monsters in Wilds, I think Blanga does it best. He's still super creepy and freaky, but having a little gang of tiny monkeys around that actually matter for the hunt. Kangala has them too, but they don't really do that much. But the little Blangas here, they actually do stuff. It actually helps with the hunt a lot to eliminate the Blangas to make your time with Blanga a lot better. The crowd control that Blanga does to you, where he freezes you and stuff like that, is really annoying. And it's a downside but an upside for the monster hunt as well, because I don't think it's a bad thing to have the monster CC you here and there. But there's a lot of CC that Blanga does outside of the Frost Breath. And I think that's where the hunt gets a little worse for me in terms of how enjoyable it is. You're just constantly being thrown around or frozen, or he's underground so you can't hit him anymore, stuff like that. And I want more uptime on the monster. Like this, I'm not gonna be able to stop this, so now I just gotta wait, you know? I'm not a big fan of that. It's one of the reasons why Diablos is a really cool looking monster, but like Black Diablos is a really tough monster to want to hunt because it's underground all the time in Iceborne. I feel that way with Blanga. It's just, there's a lot of CC, and some of it's really good. I like the Frost Breath. I think that makes sense for this monster. The digging underground, not my thing. It doesn't fit for me, and it brings the ranking down. Man, my camera is messed up right now. I'm trying to get out of here. There we go. But overall, if I had to pick the best monkey monster, it's Blanga. So I'll give it that. But I am going to put this thing in the C tier. It's not an F tier. Don't worry, Monkey Enjoyer. He's not at the lowest rank. There. He's pretty close to the lowest rank, but he's not at the lowest rank. He's an okay monster. He's an okay monster. I kind of wish he would have showed up earlier in the game, but that's just a progression thing. He doesn't have that much going for him, and he shows up at like the hardest area of the game because you've got Gormagala in with the hunt too. It's kind of weird, but that's just how they did it, I guess. So enjoy C tier Blanga, and maybe we'll move up the ranks if we can get some of the CC figured out in this quest. And now we start getting into some of the heavy hitters of the tier list. The end game monsters of Wilds. Gormagala might be the end game monster of Wilds. I don't know. Gog Mazios has a lot of parts to collect, but Gormagala is probably the most challenging monster in the game, at least for me. Gormagala hits really hard, and you'll see I won't be taking much for this guy because it's a lower ranked Gormagala. This had a guaranteed gem drop, so I did this quest instead. But Gormagala, he's a challenge. He hits really hard. The Frenzy's a fun little condition, but it does drain your HP. These little explosions do a lot. And his moveset's kind of difficult to figure out. He's quick. He gets around. These are not bad things for Gormagala. They're actually really good things for Gormagala. Outside of the actual hunt mechanic, the design for Gormagala is incredible. What a cool dragon. Very ferocious, fierce-looking monster. You know, I like him a lot. The blind effect on him is actually really interesting too. I didn't know that Gormagala was a blind monster until this game. And it plays out so well with your use of flash pods because they do nothing to Gormagala. I think that's a good thing. Flash pods are used a lot to stagger a monster often, and Gormagala has immunity to that, which is pretty cool. So overall, how do I rank Gormagala based on the difficulty, which is not a factor in the tier list, but the hunt is very tough. And the look of the monster and how you deal with, you know, just getting through the hunt every time. I actually put Gormagala down as B rank, mostly because I think his hunt just is a little bit too, it's just not as fun. You know, and that there's more about fun on this tier list than there is about difficulty. He probably is the most difficult monster, to the point that it's not really fun to hunt him. I don't look for Gormagala hunts very often because I just don't enjoy the hunt that much. I gotta comment on the music here too. I keep forgetting to do that in some of these past ones. Gormagala is a pretty cool theme. I like listening to this while we hunt the monster. It's a good one. Fits his character very well. So I've got Gormagala down in B rank because the difficulty is a little bit too high for something that I really want to like go all in on for every single hunt. And that's going to get really confusing when it gets to Savage Omega. I know. Just go with me here, okay? Just understand that this is a great hunt, but the numbers for the 9-star version of Gormagala for his HP are too inflated for how long the hunt needs to last for the difficulty it is. Savage Omega, I'll get into more details on later, but Savage Omega is more difficult than Gormagala, but it's not a monster hunter monster. And so I've got a different ranking for him. You'll see that a little bit later in the video here though, but yeah, I'm gonna stick him in B rank and I'm gonna let him live there because I like everything about Gormagala except for how much HP he has at 9-star for how difficult the hunt is. All right, let's start with all the best parts about Arkfeld for me because I think this is gonna get a little bit controversial a little bit here. I love the Arkfeld hunt. I think that this quest and how he fights and everything is so good. It's very unique, it's very fun. There's really cool mechanics with it. Lots of dodging, lots of giant hitting attacks, but he's not slower than Molasses. He's really quick and gets around, but it's not so far getting, ooh, nice shock there. He doesn't move around so far that it's hard to get to him. Does that make sense? He's right where you want to be. He's in the fight all the time. And I really, really like that. I don't have my sleep element going. Let's get some nullberries going here. I appreciate that about Arkfeld a lot. His hunt is fantastic. Oh, and honestly, oh, thank goodness for those thunderbugs. Honestly, this is a hunt that I find myself doing often when I get into quests with people or I'm just looking for a fun hunt to do. I look for Arkfeld hunts because I think they're really fun. Now, let's get into the controversial part, especially this guy's sleeping. Perfect time to talk about it so he doesn't hear us. I don't like how Arkfeld looks. I think it's a little strange. He's fine. The chain thing is kind of a fun addition and it fits the storyline really well. Morning! It fits the storyline for Arkfeld really well, but he doesn't look like a monster hunter monster. And that's the downside for me is I really like the appeal of Monster Hunter where you're fighting like big dragons and dinosaurs and stuff like that. And Arkfeld feels like something out of a horror story. And I know that that's part of what the storyline's going for. And I'm not the target audience for that. I'm not a big horror story person to begin with. And I feel like this belongs like in a Resident Evil game, you know? That's more zombie, I guess, but you get my point, you know? It's this weird merge of it's trying to be Wyvern, but it's more like Frankenstein's monster, you know, like an amalgamation. It's not really like a dragon or a dinosaur or something like that. And not everything in Monster Hunter has to be that way, but that's what I like about Monster Hunter. So anyways, how do I rank this then? Well, I gave it really high rank, don't worry. The hunt matters to me a lot. And so I've got that up at A rank for Arkfeld. If the design was more dragon-like, this would be an easy S rank for me, but the design's just not there for me. I will add this on. This is not part of my ranking system, but I love the armor set for Arkfeld. The whole like Viking knight looking thing is really cool. I have Punchy wearing Arkfeld gear all the time because he is a class act in that suit. He looks really good. But outside of that, I think his wings are kind of dorky. I think his whole tail extension thing's really weird. The chains are the best part about him, and even then, having a monster that's really stylized is something I don't really like in monsters. That's part of the reason why Monster Hunter Rise monsters aren't my favorite monsters in the series, because you're fighting a sumo wrestler in some hunts in Rise. You're not fighting a monster. They styled it too much. And I think Arkfeld is like on the border of a monster that's too stylized for the storyline and not actually believable as a monster look, especially for the franchise. So I'm gonna stick him in A rank. I feel comfortable with that. He's very good. I like him. I like the hunt a ton. The hunt is so fun, but I don't think that the design's very good. And I would make changes for future iterations of flagship monsters beyond how Arkfeld looks. Also, he's got me.
I was actually really pumped to see Mizun back in Wilds.
I only got to hunt it in Rise and Sunbreak, and it was an okay hunt there. It was kind of a goofy, silly bubble fox. I didn't quite get it. And then Wilds gave you a whole nother interaction playing against it, and I realized why Mizun is really, really cool. And the reason why is, one, just look at how quick this thing is. It's everywhere. Two, these bubbles are gorgeous in Wilds. They look kind of goofy in Rise and Sunbreak to me. They didn't quite do it for me, but in Wilds, it makes a lot of sense and it fits the region really well. And lastly, one of the major reasons I love Mizun, it's kind of goofy, but you do so much damage to this thing. Its head is super weak. And if you get to hit a big charge slash like that on Mizun, oh man, you get to see some sweet damage numbers. It's really, really cool. Now, I'm not biased here, I promise. Just because Mizun is a fox doesn't mean that it's the top monster of the game. Wow, I'm just gonna bounce over my words here. A reason why I have Mizun at the top of the list here in the highest rank is just because the hunt is such a good time. The monster's designed really well, it looks great. The bubbles work well with the combat, and it scales with the hunter. That backflip tail attack, that'll get you. It doesn't matter what rank you are, it's gonna get you. And I like that. I think it's good to have some fear of the monster you're hunting instead of just a super beefed up armor set that just can't die no matter what. I think it's good to have to take the monster seriously, and Mizun does that well, but not to like an overbearing state where you're hunting it forever to get the hunt done and it's just inflated HP and all that stuff. I would have loved to see the 10-star version of this monster, but I'm totally fine with the 9-star version. I think it's just fine that we get that difficult of a monster to farm some talismans up if we want to. Oh man, nice. I thought that was the powerful one. But yeah, I mean, being a fox is definitely a plus in my book because, you know, Giddy Fox Gaming, fox monster fits, but that's not gonna inflate its ranking just because I like foxes. So we're gonna stick this guy right up in S rank where he belongs. And I'm just looking forward to hunting Mizun some more. I really like this monster a lot. Serios is one of those that's really hard to rank because this monster is so annoying. Really, really annoying. This is not necessarily a really difficult quest, though it is tough. The 9-star version hits like a truck. but it's all over the place all the time. It's so hard to get in range of this thing. And it bleeds you and it attacks often. And then sometimes it just carts you out of nowhere with its big old kicks. And at 9-star, you're dealing with all that with a monster that has also like really highly inflated hit points. So the hunt just doesn't end soon enough. And I really don't know what the solution is. And just to give you some context, this is just a 6-star version of this monster because it has a good drop on the quest. And I'm still getting beat up by it. Does that make it a bad monster? No, it's just a difficult hunt. I actually think the design of Serios is incredible. The pine cone is what the nickname is here. It looks a lot like a pine cone, and I think it fits the monster really well. Steve is also what this monster is called. I don't know why it's called Steve, but that's a whole other story. But I do like the pine cone looking armor here a lot. I think it fits really well. But man, and I just don't know. I'm stuck right in between because I like the monster itself. I think the monster is really cool. The hunt it's leaving me a little bit something to be desired. Just a little bit more to be able to catch it or to feel like you're doing something that matters to it. Getting a tail cut's nice, you know, but outside of that, a part break that feels like it matters in this quest, I think would go a long ways. Even if there's one that's like, if you break apart, you no longer bleed, or you break apart and it stays on the ground for like 5 minutes, you know, instead of kicking you all the time in the air. I don't know what the solution is, but it feels like it's just all over the place constantly. And some of these weapons have a really hard time getting to it because of that. So I stuck this guy in B rank, and I'm still not 100% on that one. I think this is such a hard one to determine because I would rank it a little bit higher if there was some minor changes to the hunt. But the design of the monster is so good that I don't want to rank it too low either, you know, just because of the hunt mechanics itself. So I'm gonna stick it literally smack dab in the middle of my tier list, right in the middle here, because I'm torn between the two. I like Serios though. Overall, I like Serios and I'm happy to hunt it. There are other monsters that I would rather hunt instead. But if you get me a quest that has enough talisman drops from a 9-star Serios, I will take it on. I'm not completely burnt out of this monster yet. This is the first game that I've ever hunted Legacist in. I started Monster Hunter in World and only ever played Rise after that and then Wilds. And I'm so glad that I got to experience Legacist here. He's so good. What a fun monster. There's a lot of hype around Legacist when he was being released in the second title update. And I can understand why, because Legacist's design is really good. Ooh, that was a really bad transformation there. His design's really good. His hunt is really, really awesome. I know there's a part of it that I'm missing from the old games where I don't really get to experience underwater combat. I'm kind of okay with that. I've never done it, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't like it. But the little bit that we have here with Legacist was fine at the start. Over time now, I've done Legacist many, many times. Lots of hunts with Legacist. I don't enjoy the water part as much anymore. It was a great time when it first released. But I think now it's kind of lost its flavor. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. Can we get this? Oh, that would have been awesome. I think it's okay that it had its spectacle moment early on, and it's fine now. I wish there was a way to skip that instantly though and just hunt it on the land and not have to commit to going underwater to keep your hunt going. Legacist has a lot of really awesome elements to him for the hunt. The switch between physical attacks and lightning attacks is sick. I think he plays the menace really well because he kind of hurts you when he hits you, but then he hits you with a lightning attack and he just one-shots you, which is pretty sick. It adds a lot of tension to the hunt of what you ought to be doing and where you ought to be. Obviously, you don't want to take any damage at all, but if you had to take a hit, you may as well take one that's not a lightning damage hit because you're gonna get fried. I also just really like the combat in general against him. Most of the attacks he does feels really fair, which I think is good. It's pretty good to be able to dodge this guy and counterattack and all that stuff. Now, just like a bunch of other monsters in this game though, the downside is that the 9-star hunt with Legacist, he has so much beefiness. His hit points actually aren't that high compared to others, but he takes a lot less damage per hit because of his hit zone values. That's a complicated topic, but the point being is just that he's tanky. And so it takes a long time to slay Legacist, no matter what your gear's looking like. Gog obviously helps out some, but he's a long hunt. And when you're looking to farm talismans and stuff like that, being able to do hunts a little bit faster would be nice. The point being is not that the hunt time is annoying, it's that it has too much HP for how long the hunt should take. The numbers are too inflated for what the challenge of the monster poses to the hunter. So overall, the hunt with Legacist is great, and I'm really glad it is how it is. I like the lower tiered versions of Legacist more because the HP is less inflated, and so it's a little bit more manageable of the hunt. 9-star Legacist is pretty rough, just in terms of how much HP he has. So I will rank this guy at A rank, and I'm really happy with the A rank ranking. Oh, what a knockdown punchy! Nice. He just fell over. I think A rank's a good spot for him, and I would instantly put him to S rank if his HP at 9-star was a little bit lower, or at least his hit zone values were a little bit better for damage, because he is real rough at the higher rarities. I wasn't sure if I should review Omega or not, because he's technically not a monster hunter monster, right? But for a crossover, man, this monster slaps. And I got to apologize right off the back here, because I can't turn the music off for this song because I'm so worried about copyright down the road that I don't want to risk it for the video. So I've got some other music on here. But if you want to hear some really awesome music in this game, you should go check out the Omega hunts. Both of them have really interesting music that are from the Final Fantasy XIV series. Now, Omega, how do we rank this guy? This arguably is one of the most difficult hunts of the game. And then there's Savage Omega, which is the most difficult hunt of the game. Really, really tough. And this weapon tier list, or this tier list is not about the difficulty of the monster. It's about, how good it is design-wise, how good the hunt is design-wise, and what it brings to the game, overall. I do think that Omega is a very difficult monster and adds a lot to the game. There's some discourse about whether it was done well in terms of training players on how to actually take this guy down. I don't think that was a big issue. I think that this hunt is very easily done with support hunters. Going in solo like I'm doing now just for this little review thing here probably is not the right move. Support hunters make this hunt more of a breeze than hunting with random players. But when you've got your hunting party put together, the hunt is really awesome. And I think that's something that is worth talking about when it comes to a monster tier list is how is this hunt? Well, solo, it's not great by yourself. With support hunters, it's awesome. But when playing with friends, this hunt is so good. It's such a fun time. You can each play into a role if you want to. It really plays into the tank role the most, though. And there's some really good things about this hunt for tank players that they don't normally get to do. And right now I'm failing it because I'm playing it solo. But the enmity part of this hunt, where having the tank player take all the focus and save your allies so that they can dish out a bunch of damage, is really, really cool. And I'm really glad that's in the game. It's not a normal part of Monster Hunter, though, and so a lot of players find it very annoying or not really well thought out to have to deal with that for this hunt. But the main thing is just that the tank rolls still. The rest of the rolls don't really matter that much. Outside of that, the rest of the attacks on Omega are really not too bad. And once you get the first couple takedowns on Omega and you go back and fight it some more, it's pretty easy going. It's not the easiest hunt in the game for sure, but it's not like ripping your thumbnails out, it's not too bad. Now, Savage Omega, that's a whole other beast. We'll talk about him in just a second. But I think regular Omega is just fine of a hunt. It goes over really well. The gear's worth grabbing for it. And I've gone back into this hunt so many times. There's some sweet mechanics when it comes to little shield bots and all that. And hitting specific parts of the monster to get drops / interrupt effects or attacks of Omega is very cool. I think that's a really fun part of Monster Hunter, is when you get to bust off parts of monsters and it changes the hunt. And Omega has some of that. You attacking the legs and breaking the wounds on the face and getting the knockdowns to attack the little scope thing at the top. Like, all those things matter a lot. And you're not just like whacking this guy wherever you want to and hoping you kill it. Even the strategy of having your severing weapons go for the back legs and your blunt weapons go for the front legs, that's a really big part of this hunt. And I think it's really fun to experience that. So I'm gonna stick this guy up in A rank because we're gonna talk about the Savage version afterwards. But I think A rank is a good spot for him to be. Lots of interesting discussion around Omega and what's good and what's not good, but I think it's one of the best hunts of the game. How do you improve upon an S rank monster? How do you make peak Monster Hunter more peak? Well, you add more thematic moves and you make it look cooler. Arch-tempered Raydao is awesome. And I already said Raydao is an S rank monster. And so can this go any lower? No, we've got more moves. We've got added effects, follow-ups there like that on the attacks, more lightning. It just fits the theme of what Raydao is even better. We're gonna get shot by lightning on this hunt, and it feels great to get shot by the lightning, or to dodge it is even better. It feels really good. There's more to worry about when you're fighting Arch-tempered Raydao, and it offers a really good challenge. Thank you, Punchy. Appreciate that. Not to mention the fact that we can get railgunned at any point and just get carted. That's still there. The threat's still very big for that. Whoop. And we've got added effects in terms of how Raydao looks. It's minor because it's already a really good looking monster, but we've got some shiny effects added to its skin, its carapace, that make it look even better than it is. So there's not a whole lot more to say for Arch-tempered Raydao because it is the same hunt with like 3 more moves and follow-up lightning damage on all of its attacks. So it does add some things to consider when you're dodging and guarding and all that stuff in build a little bit. Maybe you run more thunder resistance on your build to be able to block more of those attacks. But other than that, you're already fighting a really fun hunt, and it just makes it even funner to have all this extra stuff. So, Arch-tempered Raydao going straight out into S rank. One of the best hunts in the game. I really enjoy this one a lot. Worth doing. So why hunt Arch-tempered Uduna over regular Uduna? Well, probably because you need the armor set. Boots are really good. But outside of that, it's just a more difficult hunt, but it's not really that much different. The main difference is 1 or 2 moves that are added, but the main difference is that these waves that Uduna puts out in its Arch-tempered form, they actually like crowd control the hunter, and that gets really, really annoying after time. But that's all right. New additions to hunts are no problem, something to adapt to. I'm not a big fan of getting pushed around by monsters. It's not an exciting part of playing Monster Hunter for me. My least favorite monster in the entire franchise as of right now is Kushala Daora, because it just constantly moves you around. And it does way more than what Arch-tempered Uduna does when it comes to CC. But there is some in this hunt, and it does get you. You'll find yourself caught up in a wave and pushed like 30 yards back from the monster, and you have to walk your way back to it. And on something like Dual Blades, it's not that big of a deal because you're pretty fast already. But when you're playing the big, slow, heavy weapons like Gun Lance and Sword and Shield, not Sword and Shield, Great Sword, sorry, and Charge Blade, the other Sword and Shield, it can be kind of hard to get around. Kind of hard to keep up with this guy when you're being pushed around a lot. And I just think that that makes the quality of the hunt or the fun of the hunt decrease. This is another instance too where the fins on Uduna are not a super fun mechanic. It's kind of like iconic out the gate the first couple times you hunt this thing, but over time, having your attacks blocked by the fins isn't really like a cool part of the hunt. So I'm gonna put this Arch-tempered Uduna just below regular Uduna, 1 slot here in the C rank. I don't think that the Arch-tempered version adds anything fun beyond the regular Uduna, except for the boots on the armor set. I do like the boots a lot, but that's not anything pertaining to the hunt itself. So once I got my armor from this guy, I stopped hunting it, and I'm not doing it anymore because it's not something that I like crave and look forward to doing. It's more of a act of will to get through this one. I said you might be surprised by how I rank Arch-Tempered New Udra. Ooh, that was really close. And here I am. I'm gonna rank them. I'm gonna give you a rank, and I want to set them up first here though. New Udra in the Arch-Tempered form ups the game a lot. This monster is crazy, but in such a good way. It retains the fun of what New Udra is as a monster. The octopus monster that gets around the battlefield really fast, launches explosions at you, you're cutting off arms, but it adds new moves, obviously, that are all very representative of the monster, and this really sick heat aura around the monster that when you just get close to it, cooks your HP. It does a lot of damage. You got to run adaptability to kind of counteract that, or just deal with the pain of standing close to this guy, which I think is pretty cool. There's one move it just used earlier, there are two, but it'll use it again on me here, I'm sure, where it launches a bunch of oil at you and then explodes, and it puts you into one-shot territory if you're standing in that. The very first time I hunted this guy, that happened to me, and that was a very painful lesson, but in a very good way. I think it fits the Arch-Tempered feel of a monster so good. I really like it a lot. I wanted to say this. I think I'll say it now. It's a little bit maybe, I don't know, controversial, but I feel like the Apex monsters, if they were at 18 New Udra's level of difficulty and with all the moves and all that stuff right out the gate, I think they would have posed such a good challenge for Monster Hunter Wilds. And I get why we don't have that for the storyline and all that stuff, but for monsters that are so hyped up with the lore of how they're like incredibly, powerful and difficult. There's the explosion. Powerful and difficult to deal with, and they affect the area and all that stuff. The base forms of the Apex monsters are not that good in terms of fitting the storyline. But the Arch-Tempered versions, man, especially for New Udra, this hunt is so good. Another thing I really like about Arch-Tempered New Udra is what I said in the regular New Udra, which is that multiplayer. Multiplayer hunting this guy feels like such a chore in a great way, because you're always on your toes with everybody. Every person's getting smacked by this guy's arms all over the place. But you also get to team up against this guy and cut off a bunch of arms, and that just feels really good. Ooh, nice knockdown. That was sick. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Arch-Tempered New Udra into S rank. A huge leap from its base form. I think it fits really well there. It's one of the best hunts of the game. It adds a lot to Monster Hunter Wilds in things to consider when you're playing the hunt, and the difficulty of the hunt, even though that's not part of this tier list in terms of difficulty, there's a lot added for just the new moves involved, as well as multiplayer and solo player functionality in playing it. I think it's really awesome. I love it. Arch-Tempered Jindahan, I actually have ranked a lot different than regular Jindahan, and there's a couple big reasons why. It makes sense for such a big monster, right? Look at that. And one of them you saw right there, AT Jindahan is way more mobile than Jindahan is. It's just, it moves around so much more, and for such a big boy, it actually makes it really hard to get to the monster. There are some weapons that are not gonna feel this, ranged weapons in specific. Also the things that are really mobile, like sword and shield and dual blade, stuff like that. But I play a lot of charge blade and I play a lot of great sword, and I have a hard time sticking to this monster. He's just everywhere. And it makes the hunt less fun. I'm just chasing this guy constantly just to get close to him. Now the hunt itself, once you get close to Jindahan, isn't too bad. He hurts, as he should. He's an Arch-Tempered monster. I don't mind that. The difficulty's fine, and the hunt mechanics are fine. But if he would just slow down a little bit and be in position a little bit longer so that I can actually do something to him, that'd be great. Because I'm already getting frozen to the ground. I'm already getting smacked from range. It likes to trample me from like a football field away. It's all over the place. And some of these big, slow, heavy weapons, I just have a hard time sticking to it. So the hunt's just less fun. But one thing like I want to give it props for though is this recoloring for Arch-Tempered. They add like a gold sheen to all the Arch-Tempered monsters, and I think it looks really good on Jindahan. Of the 4 Apexes that got the Arch-Tempered look, Plus, Arkfeld obviously is not an Apex, but I think Jindahan looks really, really awesome today. He's one of the best looking ones out of the lot. So, man, he got me too. He's just a little bit too mobile for the size he is. He gets around so fast. Oh, and he's gonna leave again here. That's crazy. Funny that we're talking about that. It's just because of how big he is, he gets around so fast because he's just got bigger legs than us little leg people around here. And it's fine. It's fine. He's just hard to get to. And it makes a lot of the hunt running around trying to get to him and then dodging attacks once you get there. And so I just would like to have a little bit more sticking power. The new attacks that AT Jindahan got though are really awesome. They fit the theme of the hunt really well. And so I really like the monster just as a thought. And I'm sure multiplayer hunts make this feeling of him running around feel a lot better because at least you have somebody hitting him all the time versus you chasing him constantly. But I've only really done this guy's solo, at least mostly. And so it's just a lot of like, man, look how far away he is from me. So take it as you'd like. Is it unskilled tails? You can call that whatever you want to. He's like really, really difficult to get close to. And he's attacking me from range like crazy. And that's like a major disadvantage for me for liking this monster is I just want to be able to hunt the monster and not chase it all the time. But outside of that, everything about AT Jindahan is really cool. The new moves are awesome. He looks great. The hunt is a good time when you get close to him and you're able to take him on because the difficulty's high. It really is. It's a great monster in terms of difficulty. I just needed to slow down a little bit and then I think the hunt goes up a tier. So I'll stick this guy in B rank. I think it's a good spot. Regular Jindahan can stay in A rank and be the better version of this one for me anyways. Gog Mazios is in Wilds, and the long return of him, apparently. I've never seen him before, but he is part of older games. There's a lot of excitement about this monster coming into Wilds, and for good reason. Gog Mazios is very cool. And he's the first Elder Dragon in base Wilds too, which is also really sick. I think they introduced Elder Dragons really well in this game. Elder Dragons are in World and Iceborne, and that's the first game I started with, and they're everywhere in World and Iceborne. It's hard to turn a corner and not see an Elder Dragon. And the main difference between Elder Dragons and regular monsters in World and Iceborne is you can't use traps on them, as in you can't take them home. You know, you can't hit them with much, and that's not that big of a difference. It's not that big of a deal to have a dragon that you can't use traps on. It's not too big of a problem. But now we got Gog Mazios here in Wilds, the first monster hunter. Ow, he's biting me too. And yeah, you can't use traps on this guy too. And why? Well, he's huge. Just like Jindahan, you can't use traps on him either. He's massive. But maybe there's more implications that we'll find out later on in the storyline for why we can't use traps on this guy. But I think there's more to Elder Dragons being presented here than just trap use. I mean, we've got ancient lore. We've got a gun sticking out of this guy's back. He's huge. He causes lots of problems in terms of like ancient civilizations too, with Wyveria and whatever the heck's going on with that whole society of people. And I think that's really awesome. I think it's a really cool way to bring Elder Dragons into Monster Hunter Wilds, at least this generation of it, and see what's going to happen in the future too. Elder Dragons in the DLC, maybe? We'll see what happens. Maybe they won't have any, maybe they will. I expect there will be, but what's going to be the lore implications and the story implications of Elder Dragons in the expansion of this game? Outside of the lore, though, we've got the actual combat with it. And I just think the hunt's really good. That's another really fun thing about Elder Dragons in base Wilds is that this hunt is a lot different than every other hunt of the game. There's 3 big stages of the hunt. We're on the first stage now. We probably won't get to the other stages while I review this guy. But the second stage is we're up on a ledge and we're fighting this guy right in the face. And then the third stage, we head up to the top of the oil well basin and we shoot him down with our slinger and other stuff. And that might be the one downside to Gog Mazios is the third stage is a little bit interesting. It's kind of goofy that we're fighting him with our slinger burst and doing a ton of damage and not just fighting him with our weapons. I would have loved to see a more grounded Gog Mazios hunt, maybe with a Dragonator or some kind of binder to bring the monster down versus just guns that we fire every now and then when we find them. I think it's a little strange, but that's gonna knock it down from the top hunt of the game to pretty close to the top hunt of the game. That's pretty much all it is for me. Ow, man, I'm getting beat up. But other than that third stage, the rest of this hunt is really great, and I've done a lot of Gog Mazios hunts mean, I've done a lot of hunts in general in this game, but a lot of Gog Mazios hunts, and I'm not sick of it yet. Like, I really like it. It's super fun, and it's even better in a group. Playing solo is a little bit different than playing with a bunch of people, and I think that's something that Gog Mazios lends itself to with the hunt, is that multiplayer. This hunt is fantastic. It's so good. So I'm gonna place this guy in S rank, top tier. I think he's one of the best hunts in the game, but he's not gonna be the very top of S tier because of the third stage of the hunt, and because Kai, I think, is just a little bit too loud in this hunt, and it annoys me. And just a quick update for 10-star Gog Mazios. This thing's really, really, really challenging. You kind of have to have a whole squad put together to make it happen. I've failed every quest I've done with randoms. I've also failed solo with support hunters. The DPS check is really crazy, but if you got a team put together, you can take it down. It's no big deal. The question becomes, is it worth it? I don't think so. I think just doing regular 9-star Gog Mazios to get the stuff that you want from Gog is way more worth it. But if you want a really big challenge in Wilds, 10-star Gog Mazios is one of the monsters to try out. So I'm not going to change my ranking just because of 10-star version for this monster, because it's good enough at 9-star. And the difficulty's gone up quite a bit with 10-star, but I don't think it needs to be a separate ranking for that. Savage Omega. Talk about a monster to add some controversy to the game. Savage Omega, and this is not a difficulty tier list, remember. I know I've said it a lot, but I have to say something about it. Savage Omega, I think, is the hardest monster in this game. And it's weird because it's not a Monster Hunter monster, but man, this hunt is something else. And it's such a good way, though. I love it. It took a lot of time and a lot of practice for me to figure out this monster. And got there eventually, got a build figured out. The trick, chat, the trick, if you need help with this one, learn Hunting Horn. This Hunting Horn just dominates this hunt. It's crazy. But Savage Omega adds so much to Wilds that Wilds needed. Wilds went through a really weird phase when it released of being the game that a lot of people said was way too easy. And it took a while for Wilds to shake that. There was a lot going on in the game that, you know, especially like with focus strikes and all that stuff, it was a pretty easy going game out the gate. But then Savage Omega came out, and thank God we have focus mode, because this guy would be a pain in the butt to hit without aiming attacks. And I think it shows why focus mode is such a good thing to have in Wilds, because you could do really epic hunts like Savage Omega. Now, because Savage Omega is so difficult, there's a lot of people who really don't like this hunt. And I'm in the opposite camp. Difficulty is not a matter of good hunt or bad hunt for me. Difficult hunt is a great challenge, but the difficulty has to be worth doing. And I think Savage Omega adds so much to the game for things to practice and learn and know how to do, as well as be able to work together as a team if you're playing online, whether with random people or with friends of yours, to have some kind of setup for how you're going to take the thing down. I think that's just good video gaming when it comes to multiplayer. I really like the boss fight mechanics of Omega, and not a lot of monsters have that. Most monsters in Monster Hunter, they're very much a fight it till it kills you kind of thing. And then the really, really difficult ones, the ones that have specific mechanics involved in it, and you have to play into those mechanics or you're not going to be able to beat the hunt. I like that about Savage Omega. So I love this hunt. I think it's really good. Maybe the one big downside of Savage Omega is that I'm so sick of the music. I've heard Chicken Tenders way too many times. But I got the music turned off for this one because of copyright stuff, just in case. But other than that, like, there's good skills to be running for this hunt specifically to be able to take it on and to feel comfortable. There's different, ooh, you got me. Different weapons to try out that are gonna help out. There's the DPS check with Nurcilla in the middle of the hunt, which is another controversial thing about Omega, but I think it's such a good thing. Like, it teaches so many things, and it feels so good to take down Savage Omega when you finally get it. Not to mention the gear that you make from Savage Omega, which is not a part of this tier list, but I have to mention it. It makes doing the hunt worth it because the gear is so sick. The Shadowbringer great sword plus the Omega gear. You got a sword and shield and a insect glaive as well. And as much as I would love to see more gear available for hunters, it's a collab project, so I understand why there isn't stuff for every single weapon in the game. I really love the gear for this hunt. I think it's really, really fun and worth grabbing, despite the low drop rates for nodules and all that stuff. It's something that we can all kind of live through it with the wilds experience of like, man, remember that time we had to go hunt for, you know, 20 nodules or something like that to build all the gear? I think that's cool. So Savage Omega, really difficult, but super, super fun. I'm gonna put this guy up in S rank. I think he belongs there. And I hope that we get a monster in the expansion of Wilds that puts the difficulty of Savage Omega up a tier, right? That we get to get something harder than this guy, and it's gonna be a Monster Hunter monster and not a Final Fantasy monster. I know we talked about Arkfeld already, but I can't not talk about Arch-Tempered Arkfeld because this monster is incredible. We took all the awesome stuff from regular Arkfeld and added a whole lot more. And if you haven't done this hunt before, you should really give it a shot. It's the best hunt in the game, in my opinion. I love it. It's so good. Arch-Tempered Arkfeld brings about the same fun hunt of regular Arkfeld, but he's way faster. He does a lot more damage. He's gonna kill me here, isn't he? Woo! Does a lot more damage, and he's got so many more moves that it makes it seem like Arkfeld is complete. It's the thing we were all missing all the way through the title updates of Arkfeld, where he was a bit of a pushover for regular Arkfeld. But now we have Arkfeld with the Guardian powers in the midst of his regular stuff, and it works so well. It's awesome. He's flying through the air like crazy for some of these attacks. He's flinging those chains at you all the time. The dragon element's a big deal. He goes into like an overcharged state later on that you have to break apart with your dragon element weapon, but he dragon elements you as well, which means you can't do elemental damage to him. It's just this really cool like back and forth of, do I run elemental damage to take care of the overcharged state, but then I gotta run like null berries and stuff to take care of the dragon element on me? Or do I just go in raw damage and we just bash each other until one of us dies? I think that's fun. I think that's really cool. The new attacks are a spectacle. That's the best way to say it, not as spectacular. They're super cool, man. They just look so good. And it's so hard for me to talk about this while I'm hunting it because it's so fast and there's a lot to think about. And my brain can't process my thoughts about the monster and all the moves it's doing to me at the same time. But please give this monster a shot. Try him out if you haven't done it yet. It's well worth it. I even did a whole video recently where I hunted Arkfeld for all of its gear, and we got the 10-star gear as well, the Arch-Tempered Arkfeld gear in that video. It was so fun to hunt him like tons and tons of times to do that challenge. It was awesome. So I'm gonna stick Arch-Tempered Arkfeld right at the top of S tier where he belongs because, yeah, his design's a little goofy, the regular Arkfeld is, but the 10-star version I think fixes some of the derpiness of him, and the hunt is fantastic. It's the perfect mix of challenging and really fun. I love it. It's so good. So congrats to AT Arkfeld for taking home the top of the tier list.